Our ladies are killing it in Tokyo. Canada has received enough COVID-19 vaccines to fully vaccinate all eligible Canadians, anyone 12 years of age and older. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that more than 66 million doses have been delivered. He urged everyone who is eligible for the shots to get them because people who are not vaccinated continue to be the most at risk.
Look, what we're seeing right now is that the overwhelming majority of cases in Canada are in people who haven't been fully vaccinated yet. In fact, only 0.5% of cases being recorded are in fully vaccinated people.
The PM made the comments at a mass vaccination clinic in Moncton today. Currently, 80% of eligible Canadians have received at least one injection. 64% are fully vaccinated. Ontario is reporting 129 new COVID-19 cases today. Meanwhile, the City of Toronto has now administered nearly 4.3 million vaccine doses. The city says nearly 70% of adults are now fully vaccinated. Meanwhile, the mayor was asked today about New York City's plan to require all municipal workers be vaccinated or face regular COVID testing and whether that could happen here.
Because you can imagine what could happen either with members of the public coming into contact with city employees or even city employees coming into contact with each other, that there need to be some understandings as to the circumstances in which people will be working. And so I will just say to you, there is nothing to say at this time about that, but that all of these things are part of a broader discussion I believe we have to have immediately. And
why it means
yesterday, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio announced all municipal workers, including teachers and police officers, will have to get vaccinated by mid-September or face weekly testing. California said it will require proof of vaccination or weekly testing for all state workers and healthcare employees starting next month. Families and advocates of people living in long-term care sent an open letter to the minister today. They say they are concerned about Southbridge Care Homes getting a new 30-year license. Southbridge runs Orchard Villa Retirement Home, which saw Ontario's deadliest COVID-19 outbreak during the pandemic's first wave. Talia Ricci with more on the story.
He died alone, which was his biggest fear.
That devastating fact about her father is one of the reasons why Kathy Parks continues to speak out. She joined other families and advocates today who say Orchard Villa's owners should not be given a new 30-year license and 87-bed expansion.
What would a home have to do to be denied a license in this province? I mean, really, it's unbelievable that this is even happening.
In an open letter to the Ministry of Long-Term Care, the Ontario Health Coalition is calling on the province to extend the deadline for the decision to renew the home's license, and they also want a second public hearing,
so that everyone's voice can be heard.
Parks's father was one of 71 residents who died during the first wave of COVID-19 at Southbridge's Orchard Villa. At that time, the military was called in and reported understaffing and pest control issues. But loved ones say they had problems before the pandemic.
Multiple trips to the hospital, days where he wasn't being fed, not clothed. I'm looking at aunts, uncles, my mother, my dad's cousins who are getting to an age where they might need long-term care. And I cannot fathom putting them into a home after what happened to my dad.
Parks isn't alone. New data from Angus Reid found that nearly half of Canadians now say they will do everything in their power to avoid entering long-term care and to keep close family members out. 4 in 5 say the pandemic has fundamentally altered the way they view long-term care.
It really shows that Canadians have been deeply affected by what's happened during the pandemic. What was shocking was that over 3/4 of the respondents actually said, look, there need to be significant fundamental changes in the way we provide long-term care.
But according to the data, only 1 in 5 feel that will actually be achieved. In a statement, the Ministry of Long-Term Care says only after the licensing review process has been completed can the director under the Long-Term Care Homes Act make a decision to issue a license or license undertaking, adding at this time the director has not made a decision regarding the issuance of a license to Southbridge, and every consideration will be examined thoroughly. Parks says she will keep pushing to advocate for better conditions for future residents and in memory of her father.
Even now, I can't think about it too much because he was just let down. He was let down by the people who were there to take care of him. And it breaks my heart.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Just as our border is set to reopen, customs agents could be going on strike.
This could very well jeopardize Canada's plan to reopen the Canada-US border to fully vaccinated Americans travelers on August the 9th, which could result in dramatic disruptions to the flow of goods, services, and people entering Canada.
The unions representing 8,500 Border Services employees announcing today that a majority of members have voted in favor of strike action. In a strike, many of the employees would be deemed essential workers, but the union says it would still slow commercial traffic at both the border and ports of entry. International mail and parcel deliveries could also be impacted. Union members have been without a contract since 2018. They want salary parity with other law enforcement workers, along with better protections against harassment and discrimination, and a remote work policy for non-uniformed members. International travelers arriving at Pearson will no longer be separated based on their vaccination status. It's a reversal of a plan put in place just last week. People were asked to stand in queues based on their vaccinations. In a statement, the airport authority says they've determined the separation of vaccinated and unvaccinated or partially vaccinated travelers leads to minimal operational efficiencies. Entry requirements based on vaccination status will be enforced once a passenger reaches a Border Service Agency officer. Cloudy, rainy, and look like you've got something special for us on the map, Colin.
Well, I know it's only Tuesday, but I think people start thinking about a long weekend, I don't know, 2 weeks ago kind of thing. So, yeah, I do want to just kind of go over the national perspective in terms of the temperatures here, because what's going to happen in the west is they'll be seeing building temperatures and heat, but that sets up this trough for us. So it's not that it's going to be cold, it's just cooler in terms of temperatures being a little below seasonal as we get towards the end of this week and into the weekend. And not only that, when we see the jet stream like this with this trough, we tend to become kind of along that storm track there through the Great Lakes. And so that's why we're into a more active pattern. Kind of off and on, we keep seeing these chances of showers. And that does carry into our weekend. Now, in terms of temperatures, not doing too badly. Very similar to yesterday, our high 24.4, normal highs at 27, but we're looking at some lower 20s as we get closer to the holiday weekend, and that's what I mean. Now, our current temperature is still hanging in there. It's been kind of various conditions where we've got Humidex values upper 20s to low 30s, but sort of variable conditions in terms of the front has gone through. We kind of had that steadier main line that went through rain showers when that happened, but then we really haven't seen anything since then except for spotty showers. So that's what's happened with some daytime heating where the sun's been breaking through. We get into a few of these really light showers, and not everybody sees or experiences the wet weather, but where it comes through, yeah, you get a little more wet weather. And boy, we've already had a lot of it in this month of July. We're adding to it already over 100 millimeters that we've been seeing, and we're not to the end of the month. As we look ahead into Wednesday, we'll see isolated showers early morning, then we get some sun coming back at us, but into Thursday, it looks drier for the start of the day. Look out into Thursday afternoon, showers and thunderstorms developing, not anticipating them being severe, but we'll be watching that for you. It looks like a weaker front coming through there. Tonight's low, 17. Tomorrow, how about 25 for your daytime high, and then this is what we have, Thursday, 26, and then there's that cooler air. Friday, beautiful day, a lot of sunshine, comfortable for many, but just up to 22 there, Dwight.
At least it's in time for the weekend. Looking a little better. Thank you, Colette.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's about time. Commuters rejoice after more than 10 years of construction. The Union Station revitalization project is now complete.
This has been an incredibly challenging revitalization. But today represents a very good day for not just for Toronto and for the City of Toronto, but for the entire GTHA, because thousands of people come through Union Station on their travels. And it's a good day for Canada, because in the end, so much of the country's economy rests in the City of Toronto.
The mayor was on hand today for the reopening of the last section, the Bay Concourse. The project was funded by all three levels of government and has been on the way for the past 12 years, with the station remaining open to the public throughout. It experienced several delays. The original completion date was 2015. The total cost, $824 million. BIPOC hairstylists in Ontario are criticizing the lack of diversity in the training standards that are mandated in their industry. The provincial agency that sets the qualification rules has been working on including a more detailed curriculum for black and textured hair for years, but there still has been no change. Angelina King has more on why stylists say the lack of representation is harmful.
Not only does this Toronto salon specialize in textured hair, it's a place where some have finally found acceptance.
It took decades.
Deanne Sims had been turned away by some stylists. Others called her hair a problem.
It does have the effect of this continued discourse around difference or otherness.
Ontario's education standards for hairstyling includes very little instruction on textured and curly hair. Salon owners say that leaves some clients feeling less confident stylists are capable of working with their hair, and some stylists feeling unprepared or worried they'll damage someone's hair.
If people were taught the right way, and had a better understanding, it wouldn't be as difficult.
This salon opened in 2019 to cater to all hair. Charisse Bisso graduated from hairstyling school last year and says the education on textured hair was almost non-existent.
We barely even touched on it, and if we did, it was mainly how to get it straight. It's incredibly frustrating.
Last summer, the salon's owner started a petition demanding the province include comprehensive training on textured hair. More than 11,000 people signed it.
We have to be completely inclusive, and that means everyone down the line from straight hair all the way to the textured hair.
Well, some schools have included their own training on textured hair. It's not mandatory. The Ontario College of Trades sets the program standards, and 4 years after working to make them more inclusive, nothing has changed. It blames the fact the province is shutting down the agency, but says it still hopes to have the standards finalized by the end of this year.
So it's very, very diverse.
In the meantime, Michelle Bonnick has been filling the gap.
It's perfect.
By offering workshops on braiding, weaving, and extensions.
Oh, this is nice.
She also educates clients on the significance of certain styles.
There were slaves that were freed because of braiding maps in their hair.
A path forever tying hair to Black history. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto rapper Havia Mighty is adding another accolade to her mantle.
The recipient of the 2021 Prism Prize Grand Prize is Havia Mighty for 13, directed by Theo Capodistrius.
13 was released last July and is off of Mighty's Polaris Prize-winning album called 13th Floor. 13 is a song that connects slavery to the modern-day prison system in vivid personal detail. Mighty and Capodistrius will collectively receive $20,000 for winning the grand prize. Congratulations. It's been 5 years since the death of musical icon Prince, but this week his estate is releasing new music from the superstar that was previously locked in his vault at Paisley Park. So it's technically old music, but it's stirring up a lot of fresh interest in the hitmaker. The new album drops on Friday. Our arts reporter Yelena Adzik gave a listen to the tracks ahead of time because she's got pulled like that. She joins us now. So Yelena, fans are curious to hear this new Prince music. Do they sound like the classic tunes we've come and know the love from Prince?
It is the first thought that I had on my mind too. Okay, what is this going to be like? Listen, let's start out with a little bit of a sense, at least a visual reminder of a classic tune so many of us know and love, Raspberry Beret. Okay, so there you get a look at that video as I talk a little bit about the fact that back in 2010, Prince set out on his Welcome to America tour. So what was wild about that is he had delivered a mix of anthems, some pop hits drawn from 39 studio albums. However, there is a however here, there was something that was missing. The thing that was missing was an album that would go along with the tour. There was no Welcome to America tour album. So that is something that we are now going to be seeing and experiencing, and I'm going to give you a chance to experience some of that right now. Here's a song called Born to Die.
This is what she said. Born to die, born to die. If you ain't living right, no, you're born to die. Better watch out, she gets you so high, so high.
All right, were you getting into that? Were you feeling it?
A little bit. It's new Prince. I'd have to listen to some more, but yeah.
Okay.
It was interesting. Go ahead, Yelena.
Well, you know what? The thing that I really wanted to ask was just, I spoke with a collaborator and I wanted to ask him, okay, so tell me a little bit about what went into this album, because you know that a lot of people are going to be wondering, if Prince did not release it then, what makes you think that he would have wanted it to be released now? Okay, so I had some fun with him. We went back and forth, asked little provocative questions. And you know what? He was really forthcoming in sharing some insight that he says that he had. He worked with Prince for a really long time. And are you ready for this, Dwight? He says that Prince told him these songs that he's got in the vault, it's so that one day Prince had hoped to have children and he wanted to pass on some wealth and some inheritance rather, to children in the future. So that was a little bit behind it. I'm going to give you a little bit more of a listen now to this collaborator talk about what he thinks really went on.
So he protected it for his kids that he never had, so that they could one day release it, and then they would be able to, this was the wealth that he was passing down, just like other people pass down wealth. So for people to say, well, nobody should go in the vault and get this stuff out, it's not finished. On Prince's worst day, he beats the hell out of a lot of people that are on their best day when it comes to music. So it's not a lot of stuff in there that's duds. That's like bad music. It's like it's Prince, for crying out loud. So I don't buy into it. They can. I guess anybody can say, well, you got people that's money grubbing and this, that, and the other. Sure, you can say that, but that doesn't mean it's true.
Okay, are you sold? Well, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of classic Prince music in case that's what you're really hungering for right now. Are you ready for this, Dwight?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's get in the mood
Oh,
here.
you are not waving your lighter. Thank you, Yelena. I'm going to listen. I want to hear the new Prince.
Have a little bit of it now. See, I told you, Dwight, I would take you back in the day. It's so much better than a cell phone, I think.
One of my favorite albums of all time, Purple Rain. Thank you, Yelena.
Talk to you soon, Dwight.
At least we don't have to water the lawns and gardens, call it.
Not this month. Yeah, Dwight, like I was mentioning earlier, over 100 millimeters, and we're not done with the month, and we're not done with the rainfall either. With the pattern that we're really into, the jet stream is going to keep being the kind of weather producer pulling things in for us as we go towards the end of this month into the beginning of the next. So we have a few. This was the front that went through, and that was the kind of more regular showery activity that we had there around midday. But this is what's happening now. There's been some daytime heating, a little bit of that sun coming through, and that's just added to some of these pop-ups. They've been pushing southward across the city, but we're getting into a quieter period even with that. So isolated shower tonight, not out of the question. I've put it in there, but we're not going to see much as we dry out. 17 degrees for the overnight low. Now tomorrow afternoon, there is a chance for some isolated showers again, more so to the north and into cottage country, but I wouldn't rule that out either, so just keep that in mind. 25 degrees will be our daytime high, and then into Thursday, especially into the afternoon, evening hours, more thunderstorm activity, showers and thunderstorms pushing through, Dwight.
Thank you, Colette.
You're welcome.
That is our show for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 6. Stay safe and have a great night, everybody.